Today we're going to be talking about something that I've been asked over and over again over the last few weeks, and that is, how can you get started in sports photography? So if you're new here, my name is Jenna, and on this channel we talk about all things sports photography. Now before we get started, go ahead, hit the subscribe button so that you never miss one of my videos, and turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified about when I post new videos. There's one thing I've learned over the last few weeks with interviewing other photographers for my new photography podcast, We Shoot Sports. It's that every sports photographer has a different story for how they got started and how they grew further in this industry. So I just wanted to preface this with, my story may not be the same as their experience, and my story may not be the same as your experience, but these are some of the ways I think that you can put your best foot forward to get started in sports photography. So with my background, before I started in sports photography, I was primarily a documentary photographer. So my husband and I had moved all around the United States, and when we moved back here to North Carolina, where I'm from, I decided that I wanted to start working on a documentary project about my hometown. And it seemed like a very good way to get reconnected with my hometown, which is a small town, was to do that through sports. I was very lucky to know several people who were involved with sports at my local high school where I grew up, and so I reached out to the football coach, who happened to be the athletic director, and he gave me the go-ahead to start shooting football there. Once I started shooting football at my local high school, they were a very talented team, and I realized really quickly with my history as a ballet dancer that shooting sports felt a lot like shooting dance. So I started shooting high school football in my hometown, and I developed my portfolio that way. And then I started shooting everything. Started shooting basketball, started shooting baseball, softball, volleyball. Anything that I could go and shoot, I was shooting. And that's my biggest tip that I can give you, is that you just need to go out and make photographs. Once I had been shooting at my former high school for a while, it was very taxing because I was driving anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours one way to go and make it down to these games. And I decided I wanted to try to find something more local, and I was ready to take that next step. So in my area, I'm pretty close to Carolina, Duke, and NC State, but I'm the closest to Carolina. So what I decided to do was I emailed every single outlet that I found that covered Carolina, and I emailed probably about 20 to 25 outlets, and I heard back from one outlet. And the reason I heard back from that outlet was because the photographer who currently was shooting for them, the day before I emailed, said that he had accepted another job and would not be able to cover them any longer. So I have to admit, part of that was a little luck on my part, that it just so happened to time up perfectly. But what was the editor looking for? He was looking for a sports portfolio, and I had already spent the time creating that sports photography portfolio. Now, this just happened to be at the end of the football season, and so I only got to cover one football game that season. And then when I moved on to basketball, that year Carolina basketball made it all the way and won the national championship game. I've been able to continue shooting for that outlet and several other outlets covering Carolina, Duke, NC State, and several other schools. And the reason for that being is I've continued to work very hard to create that sports photography portfolio. I continue to take the opportunity to shoot anytime it's presented to me. I make sacrifices to be there on time, to work extremely hard while I'm there, and to continue to do everything in my power to get better at sports photography. So what are some of the takeaways from this that you can apply? Number one, get yourself out on the field in whatever capacity that you can. Do not expect to just email your local NFL team and expect to get on the field. Number two, once you've put in the work and created that sports portfolio, email. I happen to just get very lucky, but like I said, out of those approximately 25 emails I sent, I heard back from one. And you may not hear back from any, but that doesn't mean to give up. Be willing to take the jobs that no one else is interested in. Always, always, always put in the work. Work as hard as you possibly can and work harder than anyone else. All right, I hope you guys have gotten some value out of this video. Again, like I said, this is just my experience. I don't know what your story is. And like I said, I found out that almost every photographer I've talked to has a different story. But you can create that story. You can become a sports photographer. You just have to put in the time and put in the work. So that's all I have for you today. If you remember from last week, I mentioned that my sports photography podcast, We Shoot Sports, was launching last Wednesday. Because of the current events, I decided to put that off for a week to be respectful. So this Wednesday, the first episode of We Shoot Sports is launching. You can find it here on this YouTube channel as well as in podcast form. And I will leave a link in the description. I'm super excited about this. I think you all are gonna love it. I'm really stoked about the lineup we have. And I think you guys are gonna get a lot out of it. All right, we will see you guys in the next episode. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and let me know, how did you get started in sports photography? Leave me a comment below. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.